Hello again, and thank you for joining me on another vlog. It's the last week of July. In previous weeks we've had record temperatures throughout the UK. So I thought I'd come out and have a look at how the crops in the fields are faring and look for the wild fruit that we can all go and forage for. In this time of the cost of living crunch, when money's tight, maybe this will give you an incentive to go out and look for some of these wild fruits that you can go and collect for free. I've just come out through Wolverson and it gives me a chance, as I cross the A19, to have my first look at how the wild fruits have fared this year. The wild cherries are in abundance on the tree here. This is one of the first places I come out to check how the wild cherries are doing. They've obviously had quite a good crop this year and weren't affected by the frosts earlier on this year. The problem with collecting these wild cherries is that they're not really accessible, being on the side of the A19. The yellow ones here are quite sweet and succulent. A bit further down the road there's a good crop of the more traditional red cherries. This tree is just hanging with them, and yet again they're nice and sweet. Rose hips are another favourite. These, when ripe, will be deep red in colour and can be used to make rosehip syrup, which is full of vitamin C. However, you can also use them as a childhood prank. If you take off the outer skin, you'll find lots of little seeds in there. And these, pushed down the back of somebody's jersey, are fantastic as itching powder. The hot weather that we've had in the last few weeks has been a double-edged sword for the farmer when considered alongside the drought. These conditions have caused cereal crops and others to ripen early, in some cases 3 to 4 weeks early. And now the farmer has a decision to make. Does he harvest early and get a lower yield but better quality, or leave it in the ground and hope that his yield increases, but risk the fact that any rain in the future might cause the cereals and crops to sprout and become less valuable, as they'll only be able to be put into animal feed. Here's a field of ripened cereal. Maybe you can identify what it is. If you're not sure, then have a look at a short video I made before entitled Know Your Cereals. I'll put a link in the corner. The farmer who owns the field ahead has already made his decision and has combined his cereal crop. And from the bits that are lying on the road, it looks to me as if that was wheat. Horse chestnut trees are doing well this year, and there's a preponderance of conkers. Just don't confuse these with sweet chestnuts, as the horse chestnuts are totally inedible. Now, I've heard that a number of people are complaining that it's not possible to buy sloes in the shops in order to make sloe gin. Well, sloes are only the fruit of the blackthorn plant, and why would you want to waste money in the shops buying them when you can come out here and they're just about everywhere? Not fully ripened yet, as they haven't gone really dark, but as you can see, there's loads of them. It looks like a good year for sloes. Blackberries, or as I knew them, brambles when they're grown in the wild, are having a mixed fortune this year. Some of them, like this patch, have really dried up, and there's not much chance of them swelling and ripening even if we do get quite a bit of rain. However, in other patches they're quite succulent, where they've had access to a source of water. I won't be publishing my track log for this vlog for obvious reasons, that I want to keep the location of most of my finds to myself. However, I hope it encourages you to get out there and have a look around on your routes and see what there is to discover. Apples is another favourite of the forager, and the abundance of apples on this tree, although it's domesticated, make me hopeful that we might see a good crop on the wild apple trees. Another place where it's worth having a look for wild fruit trees and bushes is alongside roads like the A66 here beside me, especially in the lay-by areas where people might have thrown apples, plums, nuts, anything like that, and it may have germinated and grown. Here's a case in point. Some apples green, just like Granny Smith's or Golden Delicious, right next to a lay-by at the side of the A66. There's a decent crop of apples on this tree. Small, which is normally the case with wild apples, but when fully ripe these turn a dark red colour, and if last year is anything to go by, tastes very much like a Macintosh red. Another crop that farmers cultivate are beans. These as well have been hit hard by the drought. You can see that the pods at the bottom have dried off completely, where those at the top have still got greenness to them. I've opened a dry pod nearest us and a green pod which is still ripening, and you can quite clearly see the difference between them. The pods that have already dried due to the drought hold beans that are no longer fit for human consumption. Those in the green pod might split if there was considerable rain. So again, the farmer has to make a decision of whether to harvest now Another favourite is elderberries, and here's a bush where you can see the green form of the berries, so they're still unripe, but they will need to get a decent amount of rain in order to become swollen and juicy, ready for making cordials, wines, or maybe even put into pies. There's a couple of things I should say in this video. The first is, if you're not sure what it is that's on the tree or the bush, don't pick it and eat it. Make sure you know what it is and whether it's edible. The things that I've shown you in the video, for instance apples, cherries, elderberries, are all fairly easy to identify. Secondly, please only forage from the roadside. Don't go into people's gardens or private property, including farmers' fields. Just take what you can from the wild trees. Now, my most recent find is a hazel tree which has unripened hazelnuts on it. However, if you pick these and take them home, put them in a dry, warm, dark place, they'll soon ripen up and you can eat them. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog and that it's given you some ideas. Hopefully you might get out with children during the summer holidays and go looking to see what there is to pick. Make use of the bounties of nature. Still, there might be some like the apples, which have got a little while to go before they're ripe, and as long as you know where they are, you can get down and get them at a later date. Well, I'm going to leave the blog here, and I'll see you again in the next one. Until then, bye for now, and stay safe.